Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the Earthly Mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. We're going to be getting back into some information about the ley lines. Going to be going over a comment that was sent to me that I've talked to you before. Going to be getting into one of the older books from the geography of the Book of Mormon. And then we're going to be getting back into the notes from one of the subscribers that's from switching lanes. It was amazing because these notes were sent to me a while ago. But I mean, I've read through some of it, but not as much as I need to. But now that we're getting into the ley lines, now it's all starting to come back, full circle. So just like the Most High was preparing, myself for this information a long time ago. Thank you so much for everyone who said it's been giving us information. And this just shows how the Most High had, this person here send these notes at least probably like a year ago, 6 months to a year ago. And it wasn't the time back then. But now that we're getting into the ley lines, how all that worked out, Atlantis, this information is going to be that much more impressive and very helpful to the nation. So let's first go ahead and take a look here. Thank you again for sending, this comment right here. Shalom, Big Judah. I have been watching your videos on keys, and the reality of it is greater than we can imagine. The ley lines will nurture and support us and enable us to do many things like fly, teleport, heal, and tap into deep mystical abilities. Excuse me. Those lines will also change the trees and plant life, creating huge trees like those found in Avatar. When they come online, it will activate and empower us with abilities as a baseline, not counting what the Holy Spirit will do for us and what the angels will teach and minister. Okay? So Most High moved me to get back into this book, the geography of the Book of Mormon. Hold on, Pastor. It's going to give you a little bit of what they saw or what was here a few thousand years ago. Now, what I'm believing now is this. When you look at the movie Avatar, they were talking about how they went, through space and they went to another planet. And that was in the things that you saw in the movie were things that were from another planet. What I'm beginning to believe is this is what they saw after the Most High opened up the fourth part to them. It wasn't they needed to go to another planet. They were allowed to come across the ocean, across the seas. And this is what they saw. They're not going to tell you that this is the promised land of the Most High that they came into, and these are the things that they saw. So they got to, make it seem as if they went to another planet. But you start reading about what they saw when they got here. It's going to definitely coincide with what you see in the movie Avatar. All right? Let's read a little bit here. The oldest fortifications do not appear close to the southern shore of Lake Ontario because it is thought that the lake was much larger than it is now. Turner has a long discussion of this subject, pointing out that Lake Ontario has receded from its elevated ground on the south side of the ridge nearest the lake. He assures us, and on the hills in the vicinity are to be found remains of fortifications. Yet north of the ridge and beyond to the lake shore, not a single fort is to be found, thus indicating that the fortified ridge marked the ancient shore of Lake Ontario, where perhaps 2,000 years ago a great battle was fought. At that distant time, Turner argues a great part of North America was inhabited by populous nations, highly civilized. These numerous works could not have been supplied provisions without the aid of agriculture, nor could they have been constructed without the use of iron or copper. The Book of Ether, 1526, declares that the Jaredite warriors were men of great stature. When Lemmi's scouts found the remains of the Jaredites, they were impressed with the large breastplates, which they found among the ruins. So impressed were they with these large metal protectors that they carried some of them home with them. These were made of brass and copper and were perfectly sound. Surely these were the first people to work the copper mines near Lake Superior. I have no idea what's going on here. Excuse me. It is significant how the scientists have verified this fact, finding many giant skeletons among the oldest ruins. Now, if you remember in Avatar, when they went into those bodies, they were actually much bigger than a regular man. You know, the avatars were actually much bigger, okay, than a regular man. So it seems like everything over here was on a much larger scale than what the people, the Gentiles were used to seeing. Says Turner mentions a skeleton being found at Aurora, which would indicate great height, exceeding by several inches, that of the tallest of our race. This was found in the theater of a sanguinary battle, terminating in favor of the assailants. So Turner describes another fortress near the shore of an ancient lake, which has receded to a mere swamp. Within the enclosure, says, near the gateway are large piles of small stones, convenient to be thrown by hand or with slings. Some skeletons, almost entire, have been exhumed, many of great size, not less than 7 to 8 feet in length. McIntosh has much to say about the ancient lakeshore, insisting that the remains of numerous forts are to be found south of it, while along the old lake bed there are no remains of a single fortress. The border of the lake is the very place that would be selected for habitation and consequently for works of defense. He argues on account of the facilities it would afford for subsistence, for safety, for all domestic accommodations, and military purposes. He is definitely convinced that such prodigious works must have been the result of labor far beyond the patience and perseverance of our Indians. And so they know that there was another group of people that was here way before what the people that are here now, and that's worldwide. They've gone to all the different places and they've kind of planted certain people in different areas, okay, in order to take our identity. Now, of course, could some of the people be mixed in with it? Of course, there's going to be some people going to be mixed in with these different groups. But that's why you can't say all of these people are this and all these people are that, because people have been planted over our lands, and they attribute many of the accomplishments of our people to the people that they planted there. Okay. Harvey Rice describes an ancient burial mound that was uncovered in 1800. Concerning the giant skeletons uncovered in this mound, we read, human bones are of gigantic proportions, were discovered in such a state of preservation as to be accurately described and measured. The cavities of the skulls were large enough. Okay, you can't see the bottom there. Okay, in their dimensions to receive the entire head of a man of modern times, and could be put in one's on one's head with as much ease as a hat or cap. The jawbones were sufficiently large to admit of being placed so as to match or fit the outside of a modern man's face. The other bones, so far as discovered, appear to be of equal proportions with the skulls and jawbones, several of which have been preserved as relics in the cabinets of antiquarians, um, where they may still be seen. Now, so you got huge people, okay, that are here, 7 to 8 feet. And so if you look at the movie of Avatar, they were like, the avatars were actually really big, like 7 to 8 feet. Seemed like they were really, really big. Now, on top of this, when you're looking at the, my goodness, when you're looking at the movie, you can see like the plant life as well and how huge the plant life was. All right, the trees, the plants that were around, the animals. Okay, now check this part out. He concludes that a race of gigantic men once existed on this continent in the remote ages, following the Mastodon and the Saurian. Okay, both plant and animal life assumed, in many instances, huge proportions, and in all probability included in successive ages huge men. He assures us that these early people had acquired the art of manufacturing, edge tools, of copper, and of tempering. Okay? It says tempering them that they would cut about as well as our modern steel implements. So, over here, you're looking at huge people. You're looking at land with, like I said, huge plant life. You got huge animals. Now, in the movie, that's what they did, but they made it seem like this was something they had to experience by going, to another planet far, far away. But as you can see, many of the things they put in that movie were actually already here, and that's what they saw when they got here. But see, they had to definitely kind of throw that whole element of, we had to go to another planet to be able to see these kinds of things. But this is showing you right here that this is what they were seeing, and this is the things that they were hiding once they got over here. Now, before they got here, we had the ley lines, correct? The ley lines were activated, correct? So therefore, it seems as if the ley lines were making it so that things were bigger in proportion, just like I said in the first comment. I'm sure we could do many of these, just otherworldly types of things, like the flying, the teleporting, the strength, just like we read in the book of Jasher. When, the battling is going on and the things that they were able to do. Here's a picture of, I think, the Awa. Okay, now think about it. In the movie, they're talking about how this tree and, in this area here has all this, special significance and special power for the people. So it would seem as if the ley lines right here, and you look at it, and it's all bright, like it's all lit up. So the ley lines talking about providing power. We know it's free energy. So even here in the movie, they're showing you how Awa, this tree had all this special power. It also was giving like lights and electricity. So you got like, you're getting your spiritual connection. You're getting, your energy. And what it seems as if is that when we got cursed, the Most High shut off the ley lines, shut off the power. And then what does it talk about in Shepherd of Hermas? How we're in a winter season. So winter season kind of seems as if no power, ley lines are off. And it says the trees would all have no leaves. So you would not be able to tell the difference between the Most High's chosen people and the others, the Gentiles. So even our plant life, looks the same. It doesn't look like, it gets been empowered with the ley lines and the power that they're going to receive once again, just like us. But it seems to be as Most High shut off our blessing, he shut off our ley lines, which then took away, our power, which had made us just like the other nations. And now we know that big things are coming. The Most High is going to turn the ley lines back on again. Which then all of a sudden, remember again, it says that when the winter time is here, we all look the same. But as soon as he, empowers us, then people are going to see, we're going to grow our leaves back. You're going to look very distinct from the other people, the other nations. It would make sense of that because we will be connected with our ley lines once again, the power of the ley lines once again. That's why this information here is so important. So like I said, I mean, look at that. It's just supposedly just a tree, but it's giving off energy. It's giving off light. Something that our ley lines will definitely do for the plants as well for us, animals. It'll rejuvenate us once again. And then people will see. They'll be able to distinguish between the Most High's chosen people and the others. Now, doesn't it make sense when you start to read about how at first they didn't know who we were, so they were calling us whatever they wanted to. Let's go right here. Let's go there. Let me go here. Let's go to Hosea 1 and 10. Now, we know that the ley lines have been turned off, so like I said, we don't look any different than they do. When the Most High turned those lines back on, then the other nations are going to realize who we are. Then we will be, you'll be distinguishable who are the, sons and daughters of the Most High and who are not. So right now, let's read Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. Okay, so think of it. Ley lines are off, no power. We look just like everybody else, but they're on top because they've been able to enjoy their blessings. Okay. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. So there, when the ley lines come back on, all of a sudden, the Most High empowers us once again. And it said, and those same lands. So when they got here, it seems like the ley lines were still working, or they had just barely been shut off. So therefore, this land looked totally different than it does now. You got a land of plenty. Okay? Then all of a sudden, Most High shuts it down. We look just like them. We go through our punishment. We're now coming to the end of that time of we're at the end of the time of their cursing, of their blessing. Now they're experiencing the curses. And now we know that soon the Most High is going to restart the ley lines. Then all of a sudden, those same lands where, it was said that we are not the children of the Most High. It says, ye are not my people. There it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Does that not make more sense now? The ley lines, like I said, are very, very important. That's why now at this point, the Most High has given us more knowledge and understanding about how He supplied us with power, how He supplied our plants with the ability to grow huge animals, free energy, just like here they were showing you right here in the movie. There's some of the plants, but how there was a much better spiritual connection. How we were definitely connected with the plants and the animals, not like we are now, but how we will be again, like we did before. They were believing in signs, looking at the signs, knowing that these signs mean something. Not just saying, oh, it's just superstition and things you don't, we have science. Trust the science. That's how they are. That's what they want you to, that's what they've been wanting us to do. Not connect with our power. Not connect with our lines. Not connect with our land. But to, be dependent upon them. Make it seem as if, well, if you guys don't have us here, you guys aren't going to, your standard of living is going to go way down because we're the ones that brought civilization to you. We're the ones that brought electricity to you. We're the ones that brought, the great things of this society, these comforts of this society, knowing that was a lie. And right here, remember, the plants growing huge, the trees growing huge. You got home tree right here, much bigger than all the other, trees around. So just like it talked about, huge plants, huge trees, huge people, huge animals. Just think of the ley lines giving the power like they used to. And they're going to be turned back on again. And then all of a sudden, it would just make so much sense as to why all of a sudden the Gentiles are going to be like, oh man, I didn't realize that you guys were the God's chosen people. We just thought you guys were, just very unlucky. You guys are here just to serve us. Now it makes sense as far as the sweeping them off of the lands as well. Because they didn't, look at how things were before they got here. How the Most High let them have their 400 to 500 years here, but then he's going to kick them out of here. Just like it talks about in Revelation 18 and how the rest of the world is mourning. Because they're not going to be able to come over here and rape, rob, murder, and exploit the lands anymore. He said it's all coming together. Now we're getting some information here from Switching Lanes. Thank you again for sending us information. I said now is the time for us to get more into this. I said this is some really good information, and it probably gives you a good glimpse of what the other nations saw when they got here. See, they kept a lot of the information. They've kept this information quiet about what they got here. They just pretty much said barbarians running around here naked, and we had to come over here and civilize them, show them the better way to live. Well, here we go. Check out this part here. The poster fields right here, or the power grid, okay, and the crystal satellite. It says throughout Atlantis. And remember, what do they say the United States is going to be? The new Atlantis. So maybe some of, did we have some of this Atlantean technology here? Quite, I'm sure we did. We had all these pyramids. We had all these other huge, these things that we already had here in North and South America. I'm sure that we had electricity. We had power. So I'm sure many of these concepts were actually already implemented here as well. So like I said, this is probably just a little taste of what the conquistadors saw when they got here. It says throughout Atlantis, power grid crystals called posers were triangulated and connected through an alloyed gold copper rod under a spherical dome that could be angled to receive specific stellar, solar, and gravitational energy waves. This was a system used to power homes, offices, media, and theaters, manufacturing concerns, medical centers, schools, and businesses. The polar system was received in each structure by receiving crystal units of various sizes. The polar system was also able to receive specialized refracted light and feed it into the ley energy system for use in the interdimensional tunnel system, and feed crystalline light into conductive earth currents to raise a frequency into a semi-aware electromagnetic plasmic field of benevolent energy capable of retaining spiritual frequencies. So as you can see, you're using all this, and they're also using the ley energy system as well. So all this information been hidden. It says a great crystalline satellite referred to as the second moon of Atlantis floated above in the skies and received amplified and reflected refined energy back to the crystals for various beneficial purposes. It served both the posers and the master crystals used in the temples. Specialized energy fields were projected into agricultural and crystal growing areas to amplify and accelerate growth, as well as into universities, hospitals, schools, offices, factories, and workplaces to create a sense of well-being and invigoration for the workers and students who will speak more of this, or we will speak more of this second moon later in this essay. So now the temples were astonishing works of sacred geometry and stunning architecture. Many of the great temples were covered in a dome, okay, of projected crystalline amplified light, somewhat like a glowing force field. Others were set within pyramids, okay, degreed at very specific angles. The energy fields projected above both the spherical domes and the pyramids were of various colors and glowed in day and night like the aurora, okay? These were varied according to the purpose of the temple complex, and the colors were obviously more clearly visible at night. Now, this is kind of amazing because in the book that I have, I'm going to have to go back and find that part. But it was talking about where they were in South America, and there was a certain priest there who these natives were bringing these artifacts from the jungles of South America to him. And the natives were telling him that at night, the pyramids or these places or these cities glowed like blue. They were glowing like blue at night. So then for them to sit there and talk about how these certain places were glowing at all times, you know, as a kind of like more corroboration that these things were going on. And these things are, and that these cities and pyramids are still glowing even to this day. What was that? One of the books about the you guys, I'm sure you guys will remember the name of the priest. That the natives were going and bringing a lot of their artifacts to. Okay, let's continue. It says some temples projected domes and fields of vibratory light and resonant sound frequencies that amplified the senses and chakras. Others amplified the receptive learning ability of the mind, and others enabled multidimensional consciousness, communication, and transport. The pyramidal form was used primarily for multidimensional receival and transmission. The dome spheres were used to amplify the fields received for a specific purpose. Most of the major populous areas and cities during the golden age of Atlantis had crystalline power domes of energy, plasmic fields above them. Okay? So when they sit there seeing these kinds of things, they're not going to try to explain this. They're just going to write it off and say that there was nothing here. They're not going to let people know that there's way more technologically advanced people over here than what they were. And I said that's what they've done the entire time. And I know some of you guys might be interested in that second moon, so I actually took a little picture of it so we can read a little bit about it. Okay. Hold on. This goes with the last part right here. Okay, that was just reading the next page. Anti-gravity plasma swirled around the sphere and often appeared as what which you now term the aurora or northern lights. The satellite crystal moon did not orbit the Earth. It moved as programmed, self-directed, constantly shifting locations in order to perform its myriad tasks. Okay, over Atlantis, Africa, and the eastern seaboard of Brazil. And I'll let you guys go ahead and read that part if you guys want to on your own. I'm going to continue here. To the second moon of Atlantis. Though through legalized, that which was known as the second moon of Atlantis, the crystalline poser grids and fire crystals came under governmental control, and their usage became altered as the Aryan insider knowledge of the programming grew. The Atla Ra were able to defer the usage initially for war purposes, but in time were stymied. Okay. Now, as we have mentioned earlier, that termed the second moon of Atlantis was in fact a massive crystalline satellite. It was of Arcturian construct and managed by the priest scientists of the Law of One. The crystalline satellite was an enormous unmanned sphere of brilliant engineering, approximately 5 miles in diameter. It had been in use since the golden age of Atlantis and served myriad benevolent purposes. It amplified and controlled the various crystalline beams sent from fire, healing and energy crystals. It was somewhat of a computerized macrochip that refracted, amplified, and reflected powerfully refined beams of energy for use in agriculture, weather control, tide control, healing temples, regeneration temples, and the enhanced ley energy systems generated by the crystal poser. So we got the ley energy again, okay? Crystal system. It says it loomed in the skies over Atlantis and appeared as a golden harvest moon, and thus was known as the second moon of Atlantis. So like I said, there might be a whole lot of things that they saw that we have no information on, or very little information on. But it just kind of, from where we began this video to where we are now, just think of it, we're just talking about the powers that we receive when the ley lines are turned back on. And you start reading this stuff, like, this information here at the end, and you start to see how way more advanced we used to be. The connection that we had with the earth, with the Most High, with the, earthly mother, animals. I said it's just like when you watch the movie of Avatar, and when they get on the horses or get on the things that the animals they used to fly, and how they connect their hair with them, they just make these connections with them. Those are the kinds of things that we're looking forward to now, looking forward to getting that connection back with with the earth. And it's just a blessing that the Most High has opened up all this information to us, and we're just barely scratching the surface. And we know that eventually the Most High is going to have to, just download this information to us, because it is very difficult in our state at this point to be able to comprehend a lot of this information. I said because the Most High is way more complicated. You're not just going to be able to just understand everything, just like that. Not maybe not in this state, but when the Most High, elevates us and gives our knowledge and understanding back, we'll get much of this, downloaded real quick. But it's just amazing to see all this information, and we'll definitely be bringing more and making more connections with other things as well. But the world is ready to be rejuvenated. That's why when you read in Joel 2, it talks about how when he starts sweeping them off the land, how the world is rejuvenated, how the world begins to produce way more food, way more of the wines, things like that, because the ley lines, they're going to be activated, and we know that we're coming on the conjunction very soon. If he kicks up the ley lines and right away or over a little bit of time, we just have to be patient and keep on doing the work and keep on following the Most High. Well, we already know though that the Most High is here. The Most High has already switched the curses from us to them. Just an absolutely amazing family. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who was wisdom, who was the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.